President Donald Trump's nominee for FBI director was on Capitol Hill today, testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Christopher Wray was nominated for the job after President Trump fired James Comey under circumstances that are now under investigation. During the hearing, Wray was pressed about his past as a former assistant attorney general, about the firing of Comey, and about how to deal with Russia.
There is no doubt, as this committee knows, that our country faces grave threats. As lots of other people have noticed, America's law enforcement and intelligence agencies have essentially to pitch a perfect game every day, while those who would inflict harm on us just have to hit once to advance their aims. I consider the FBI director's most important duty to ensure that nothing distracts the selfless patriots at the FBI from the mission. I believe to my core that there's only one right way to do this job, and that is with strict independence, by the book, playing it straight, faithful to the Constitution, faithful to our laws, and faithful to the best practices of the institution. Without fear, without favoritism, and certainly without regard to any partisan political influence.
If the president asks you to do something unlawful or unethical, what do you say?
First, I would try to talk him out of it, and if that failed, I would resign.
Thank you.
As the future FBI director, do you consider this endeavor a witch hunt?
I do not consider Director Mueller to be on a witch hunt.
Thank you.
I fully understand that this is not a job for the faint of heart, and I can assure this committee I am not faint of heart.
Max Kutner is a senior writer for Newsweek, and he has been listening to this hearing for hours today. Max, I can't wait to hear your take. It struck me that it was pretty standard fare, except for the context of this, that the former FBI director was fired because of that Russia thing. And this is the guy that Trump has anointed as the next FBI director, and there was sort of this bipartisan moment that I think I wasn't expecting.
Right, and Stephanie, I thought this was a pretty remarkable hearing. I've been talking to people for a profile I've been working on of Chris Wray. It came out this morning, and they've been telling me this is a quiet guy, an introverted guy, so I was not expecting any sort of big sound bites or disclosures today, but I think we really did get those in this 4.5-hour hearing, and we learned what kind of FBI director he will be, and that's one who's willing to stand up to the president if needed. That's one who will be much different from James Comey, the previous director, and we really did get a sense of that today.
Okay, that's interesting. You wrote that Wray and Comey are really different. In fact, you called him the anti-Comey. Is that for the reasons that you just described, that you feel like Comey did not stand up to President Trump?
Not necessarily. It's more of a personality thing,
okay,
but that personality aspect does come out. We saw in James Comey, in an unprecedented way for an FBI director, a director making these big public pronouncements, a July press conference about Hillary Clinton,
yeah,
October update to the Hillary Clinton email case, and that's what some would say eventually got him fired or
Ray
contributed.
And Ray criticized that during his testimony
exactly.
today, didn't he?
So he said if he was in that position last July, he wouldn't have had a press conference. He said, I can't imagine having a press conference about a case where we're not charging someone.
And in that way, what was it that President Trump said? That he called Comey at some point, beyond calling him a nut job, I think he basically said he was a showboater. And so Ray does not seem to be that guy.
No, I spoke with a ton of people close to him or have been close to him, and one person who was close with him at the Department of Justice more than a decade ago said, this is not a grandstander. I don't think she meant it in response to Trump's comments about Comey, but it was the same word. This isn't what we're going to get in this guy.
He didn't have a lot of those zingers that Comey had even during his recent testimony.
Right.
So what occurred to me is that there are hundreds of FBI agents that were probably interested in learning who their likely next boss is going to be, and they've been in a bit of turmoil in recent months. But you write, quote, Ray's biggest problem may be how he'll mesh with the average FBI agent. Do you think that he rectified that in today's hearing?
I think he came close to it. We're starting to see in the past couple of days, especially some law enforcement agencies that had voiced support for other candidates for this FBI job coming out in support of Wray. I know from a source that he called someone, a friend of his who used to work in the FBI, and said, "What do you think they're gonna? How do you think they're going to accept me?"
Yeah.
So this is a concern that he had, but I think that that perhaps alleviated some of the concerns today.
He did say he was going to speak to the FBI agents, that he'd want to speak directly to them, which was something Comey was known for. All right, on the big topic that sort of overshadowed everything, the Russia investigation, Wray said he does not think that special counsel Robert Mueller is on a witch hunt. You heard that Lindsey Graham line of questioning. If confirmed, how is he going to have to navigate his role as agency chief alongside special counsel Mueller?
My understanding is that the special counsel is overseeing this FBI investigation, and so he can kind of let Mueller and Mueller's team do their jobs with this, and he's there to support them. In some ways, that makes the job easier. It takes weight off of Wray if he is confirmed.
That's what he actually said, is that he's in a different landscape than Comey
yes,
was.
I heard that he did say that, and he also spoke about how he is close with Mueller. And I'm seeing some chatter on the right about people who have concerns about that. On the right, not on the left, interestingly. But yes, this is a person who he and Mueller go way back. Mueller and Comey go way back. They all were going to resign together during the Bush administration. So I think they will mesh well.
I think the other thing that both sides liked is when he was asked about if the president asks you for loyalty or if he asks you to violate ethics, what would you do? And he said something like, I would first convince him not to violate those ethics, and if he did, I would resign.
Right.
Is he likely to face pressure from President Trump?
Well, we can only go off of what Comey told us, and Comey testified under oath, although Trump has denied doing this. He said Trump tried to stop an investigation or get me to back off from this Michael Flynn investigation. He said Trump demanded loyalty from me. Again, Trump denies this, but he said it. Comey said this under oath. So I wonder if we can expect that kind of behavior, given that President Trump is someone, by his own admission, who does value loyalty. He writes this in all of his books. I think that he wouldn't hire someone who he felt couldn't be loyal to him.
Yeah.
So I wonder what he's thinking watching this today.
Not to mention that this didn't come up that much in the hearing, but King and Spalding, which is the law firm that he has been working at for several years now, several people from that law firm are now in the Trump administration.
There's some conflicts, potential conflicts of interest. There are things that people are concerned about. I, too, Stephanie, was surprised that this didn't come up today. One of the partners at this law firm is Bobby Birchfield. He's ethics advisor to the Trump Organization. There's another presidential appointee whose nomination is still pending. He's at this law firm. The law firm has ties to, reportedly has ties to state-run, Russian state-run energy companies. And none of that really came up today. I spoke with this law firm yesterday, and they told me that there won't be any conflicts of interest, and the ethics office has put out its agreement and shown and spoken to that as well. It
occurred to me that this was really a moment where Congress got to have oversight and really got to lay out what its concerns about Russia are, about Trump Jr. are, and their concerns about whether the relationship between the FBI and President Trump can truly remain independent. Once he's installed, and assuming that he does become the next FBI director, do they continue to have much oversight?
I believe they do, and that's what the Senate Judiciary Committee does. It does oversee the FBI in a certain capacity. The Deputy Attorney General oversees the FBI director. Of course, the Attorney General oversees the deputy. So there is this sort of chain of command. Having worked in the DOJ before, I think Wray will be used to doing that, and it won't be too much of a problem.
The old checks and balances that we're all banking on. Max Kutner with Newsweek, thank you.
Thanks.